Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, good people. I am really excited to have you join another episode of The Real Journey of the Entrepreneur. And as you know, I'm not going to be sitting here alone because I don't have all the information. And I'm sure that while I, beauty, excitement, you just don't want to hear me talk all the time. So welcome to the ride. We are so excited to have you join us for another episode because guess what? Image, brand is what we're talking about today. And I have to tell you, just sharing, just come in. It's a little bit of a secret. Not really. But here's the deal. One thing that remains consistent and collective, and then as a part of business branding, is showing up consistently. Our business requires a few things besides clients and marketing, but showing up in our products and services and delivering of those products and services requires an image, consistency. And one of the things that I can definitely attest to, and this is just a very recent experience, which I will share momentarily, is the importance of just your overall brand, your overall image, and also how it makes you feel on the inside. So, one of the things that I can share is that I have, just like probably everyone else, a favorite musician. And one of my music legendary artists is Mary J. Blige. And when I think of Mary J. Blige, specifically within these last 10 years, there's a couple of things that come up consistently. One, not only is she beautiful. Two, the fact that she has this honey blondish chestnut colored hair, right? That has been her brand consistency for at least a few years now. At least I want to say, as I'm really thinking about it, it's been that way for at least the last decade. But also when you think about that, think about her, besides her amazing vocals, is hoop earrings. She wears consistently hoop earrings or very like large, beautiful dangly earrings and shades, right? So it's three things. The beautiful colored hair, which is like a honey blondish, either sunglasses or shades, and hoop earrings. And I think most recently I've been really looking at these thigh high boots, which are just been like, woo, go on, Mary. I mean, I got like one or two, but they just look a little bit different on me right now. But that's a side note. But ultimately, that is about brand consistency, brand image, and brand consistency. And as a business owner, I had this recent opportunity, which I'm going to share before I bring on my wonderful guest. So I am currently in the process of doing a total rebrand. Not because I don't think I'm wonderful and fabulous, but it's about making sure that I show up in spaces consistently that I'm recognizable, and that everything is in alignment. And so I took the opportunity to do some photos, and I actually had, for the first time in my life, a consult with an image coach and a wardrobe stylist, which I'm like, what is that? I have no idea what that is, and blah, blah, blah. And my friends know that I shop a lot and recovering, so they already know I have a lot of stuff. But I had a chance to meet with Courtney. And I have to tell you, right? And this is not because I didn't think I didn't need help, but I honestly didn't know what to expect. And during my consultation, I brought out some pieces, in preparation for my photos. And I have to tell you, I appreciated all of the support, and recommendations. And, should I wear this piece or that piece? All of it made me feel really good, but it also made me think about my closet. Now we're talking post a few weeks, and I have to tell you, I'm looking at my stuff that I have. Some clothes I have in my closet is really dated, and I don't even want to tell you how long I've had it in there. But it's important that when you have like an attachment to, or like some sort of an awareness, and you're like, why do I still need these things? So as a result of that consult, I am getting rid of like so many things that do not represent the space that I'm in currently and where I plan to go forward, right? And so that doesn't mean that I don't love myself. I don't, all these things, but it's just about lightening the load, but also creating, some free space. It's like, having that good old detox, but, you could get rid of some of that stuff. Someone else can use it. And so that's where I am now. Having some sort of consistency with your brand, even in business, is how our clients will continually to purchase our products and service and get to know the amazing service and products that we offer. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm going to bring on the expert because, it's not me anymore. I have the distinct opportunity of introducing image coach and wardrobe stylist, Miss Courtney Robinson. Enough about me. Hey, Courtney.
Hi, Anita. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was great to hear some feedback on your session. I love that.
Because it was good. It was good. And I am for sure going to be purging the things that I don't need anymore. But I want to say welcome. Thank you for your services and inspiring me. But can you tell our audience exactly who you are and what it is that you offer in terms of your service that you offer, and actually a gift that you offer to the world?
Absolutely. So, thank you again for having me. I'm excited to be here and to share. Of course, again, my name is Courtney Robinson. I call myself your wardrobe confidant and image architect.
Mm.
And really, what I do, it seems so simple, right? It's beyond clothes and closets and accessories. um, I help women with their image, right? So I help them elevate their wardrobe so that they can gain the confidence, they can gain the authority that they need in the workplace and beyond. So that's the bottom line of what I do, but there's so much more that's packed in there, that, alluding to some of the things that you mentioned, like, your brand presence, and again, your overall image and how you're showing up for your business and your brand. So there's a lot that goes into personal branding and styling.
So tell us how you got started.
Well, it's really interesting. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I just love enterprising type things. I've always worked in corporate and I've always done something on the side. And so about 7 years ago, I got married and moved to Georgia. And I was looking to expand my, my network and my territory, so to speak. I moved here to a state that I wasn't familiar with. All I really knew was my husband and his friends. And so I thought, outside of church, I really want to build, a network of friends and people and different things like that. And at that time, because I'd made a transition in my corporate job, I wasn't doing anything on the side, but I was really drawn to wanting to do something. About a year before, I had just graduated from business school, getting an MBA from Carolina, and I was in a cohort of about 50 people, the majority of which were men. I think there may have been 13 women, and dressing up, looking the part, showing up sharp every day to class for, the times that we met in person. That was my way of distinguishing myself and standing out in a group of already very brilliant people, right? And so I remember one of my female colleagues saying to me, you look sharp all the time. And if you were a stylist, I would so hire you. That was a seed that she planted. It's like 2012 or something like that. So fast forward, I move here and I'm, considering, I really want to do something outside of, work, what can I do? And that light bulb goes off. I'm like, I really need to start, sharing this styling. I started years ago when I didn't really understand or know that stylists were a thing. Nobody in my circle used them. I didn't know them. I thought they were for celebrities, that type of thing. I didn't know that ordinary people actually employed image coaches and stylists to help them elevate their personal brand. And that's whether you're a business owner or not. Everyone has a personal brand. Everyone's known for something. Um, and so by trial and error, I started to do those things for myself, right? And the feedback for me was when I got compliments, when people said, you look nice, you look sharp, I like this, I like that. And I started to do more of that, right? Changes that I would make in my hair or different things like that. Just that was all positive feedback for me in building my own personal image. And so I knew if I could do that for myself, that I could definitely help other people do it, right? And what is it we say in the entrepreneurial world? You do something that you naturally are inclined to do, that you love to do, that, it doesn't feel like work. You don't consider it to be work. And that's exactly what styling is for me. So again, being here, I just decided I'm going to do this thing because I'm that way. I make a decision and I just move forward. So the very first thing I did was seek out a photographer for brand photography, and it was the same photographer that you use for your past shoot. And so I didn't know her. I didn't know of her. I just was on social. I saw someone that had used her. I felt drawn to the photos and the way that she captured women. And I thought, I'm just going to book and I'm going to go do this. And that's exactly what I did. And so that was my very first brand photo shoot. And that was in 2016 or 17, I think. And I haven't looked back. So I just started, from the bottom, right? Like I didn't know what I was doing, even though I have a master's in business. They don't teach you all this, new age social stuff, right? And how that feeds into and marketing is so different than what we were taught, right? Like there are so many strategies and things that I use now as a business owner that I never learned in business school. And while that was a very important education and it does serve me well, there were these gaps, right? So I had to learn, fast and furious with things and how to use Instagram and, Facebook groups and all the different things. So, I mean, that's really how I got started, and really what propelled um, my clientele was getting collaborations with photographers and working with them to help them, make sure that their clients were prepared. So that's where I started. And then since I've started, other marketing things in order for me to build relationships and work with clients. So.
I'm trying to think, where do I go with next questioning? Because that's a great, just listening to, your start, hopefully will inspire and lend to other individuals who would be, want to follow into your pathway. And so just talking about basic structure, right?
Mhm,
Because you provide a service.
I
What
do.
does your structure look like in terms of structure? Is it like a sole proprietorship? Is it LLC? Or like how did you decide to structure your service-based business?
Yeah, so I do have an LLC, because I did want it to be, a bit separate from me. And yeah, I just went, I had to do that research on my own too. I think that's when, around the time I started, is around the time business coaches really started kicking in. So I didn't even really know what that was at that time. I hired my first business coach maybe 2.5 years ago, maybe. So up until that point, about half as much time, I was just doing stuff on my own. So I would get online and research, see what I could find. If people were dropping gems, I take it, that type of thing. But I did get my business license in my county. I got my LLC registered with the state of Georgia. And then, like you said, because I only offer services and not a physical product, I feel like it made it a little bit easier for me in terms of the startup and the overhead, even, right? My overhead is purely tools and systems that I use to serve my clients. And so that has also matured and grown over the years as I've learned better ways to serve my clients and to work with them. Um, so yeah, I mean that's really how I got started. Opened up my business bank account. Um, you know, got a couple of business credit cards, that type of thing, and just started to manage that way. But again, I didn't have a lot of overhead in the beginning. And everything that I was doing was really just investing in learning, right? Investing in learning more, getting deeper in my domain, and investing in the tools that would help me manage the business a little bit better. So,
And so there are some key things that I definitely want to elevate for those who are interested in starting a service-based business. The overhead and the expenses look extremely different than when you are starting a product-based business. So I just wanted to note that because oftentimes when one is looking to start, you may get overwhelmed thinking that you have to have all of these products and where your distributors are going to be. Like there's so many other things that you have to think about, but a very, I don't want to say simple, but an easier way to enter in the entrepreneurial space is as a service-based business. And the overhead, depending on how you vision and visualize your business, you could have a space where folks can meet you, or you can just, keep your overhead low and walk around with a
mm,
laptop. But it's depending on how you visualize, you serving your target market. So I wanted to elevate that because Courtney did mention that, when we're saying overhead, meaning that we don't have to pay for space. We're paying for business registration. We're making sure that we have our insurance and,
mhm,
because we still as service-based businesses, we still have to have insurance. Like that's
right.
not, we have to protect ourselves, the business, and also the clients that we serve because things can happen throughout the process. I wanted to also inquire because one of the things you had mentioned was about business collaborations, right? You mentioned that as like one of your ways of entry. What does that look like for and how do you view the importance of business collaborations?
Well, I tell you, I wish I had learned it a little bit earlier in my entrepreneurial journey, right? Because we try to go this thing alone, and that's not possible, right? Um, Collaboration over competition. I know we hear that it's probably played out by now, but it is so basic and it is so true. You have to understand how your business can work in tandem or complement other businesses in order to help yourself grow. I think this is a perfect example, right? Another example was, of course, one of my main things is building relationships in order to build clientele. And in doing that, I don't always feel like if I don't sign someone on for one of my programs that it's not a win,
Mhm.
because that's an opportunity to build a relationship. And that's exactly what I did with a recent client who I gave a photo shoot consultation to probably right before COVID. So a couple of years ago, right? And she's been on my mailing list. We've stayed in touch. And I went back in, just saying hi and reaching out and asking her to help me with a survey for some more market research that I'm doing for, this just refining my program. At any rate, she said, I'm not interested in doing that at this time, but I would love for us to do some type of collaboration, right? It ended up being something very simple. She calls it content cousins, right? So we just exchanged, email. I wrote my own copy, provided her with what I wanted. She did the same. And we just emailed each other's list, right? Now I'll have to tell you, I hit I hit the jackpot, right? Because she's got like an amazing list. My list is still growing, but that's a win, right? And that to me is probably the purest form of collaboration, where you're not expecting anything in return, but you're finding ways to work with each other that can mutually benefit both of your communities, if those communities are very similar in some ways, right? So she's a coach who works with women who are in different stages of development and growth. And I mean, she does a lot of other things, but their personal image and self-confidence is one of those things that they work on. And that's exactly what, styling is. It's personal development. So yeah, I love that you asked that question, because there's so many opportunities to collaborate. And I think sometimes we miss out on that because we're more concerned about whether or not we're going to sign someone or sell something. And if you will just sow those seeds of collaboration, it'll come back around at some point, right? So,
So it's very interesting that you talk about, again, we're talking about image. You mentioned confidence. And now I'm going to ask a question about social media, right?
mhm,
So, one of the topics, so I have a group of other entrepreneurs that we kind of just, iron sharpen irons, and we have these conversations about, you know, how and what the pressures of social media puts on women. I'll start with women, young women, in terms of either the consistency of this type, right? Whether it's in business, whether it's, across entertainment. Um, how do you help your clients combat if that gets elevated for them in terms of like, oh, I see what's on social media, I want to look like this.
well, that's the first thing is we really work on your own personal brand, right? Because your brand can't be like somebody else's brand. Your brand you have to differentiate your brand. You have to decide what your it factor is, right? And then you have to capitalize on that. And it may not be something that's so dramatically different from someone else, but there is something about you and your services, your products, your brand that's different from someone else's. And so one of the first questions I ask my clients is, describe your style to me in a couple of words, a few words. And a lot of women struggle with that. And so that right off the bat tells me that they may also be struggling with what their personal brand represents and what they really want to put out there to the world. So we do spend some time around that, because sometimes it's just a matter of mindset, right? Like they may not have the best self esteem and different things like that. But that all impacts how we show up on social media, right? And when you don't know who you are, what you want to represent, then you want to mimic or be like others, because you don't really have a strong sense of how you want to show up. I struggled with that in the very beginning as well. I mean, anything that anybody was doing, I thought that was the thing to do. So I tried to mimic it, right? And it wasn't in a bad or, derogatory way. It was that's what I thought you were supposed to do. And then I realized that there is such a thing as your personal brand and your brand image, and those are very much a part of your business. Yeah.
And so, yes, that is the question of the day. It seems like, as a coach, like, should I or should we be doing this? And to your point, it's really about understanding who we are and what we want to sell as our business and project holistically as a person, because we really don't want to. There used to be a term, because I also come from the financial services sector, where we
Hmm.
would code switch, right? Because we were in the corporate space and we had to, back then this was not culturally acceptable to be in a corporate environment. So I didn't have a perm, but I always would press my hair, and wear it in a way that I perceived at the time was acceptable.
Right.
That was, part of the space that I was working in. But then it comes time to, as a individual business owner, how do I want to show up? And what we exchange is, it's really about, being your authentic self
Hmm.
as much as possible as you can, and showing up in business and, around the spaces in which you are impacting.
Right. No, I appreciate everything you said. And I think that's been the shift over the years in business with the advent and the growth, the tremendous growth of social media on so many different platforms, is that there was a time when we dressed the way we thought we should, in the way that we thought we should be perceived, versus now you're seeing so many people saying, you know, kind of take me as I am. This is who I am type thing. And, embracing that, because we're not all the same, right? And we shouldn't all try to be the same. That's kind of what makes the world go round, is that there's so much diversity of thought, um, and of so many different areas in our life, but especially in your personal style, right? You might share some similarities, but no two, I've not worked with any two women who are the same,
Mm.
you know? And so my job is really to help them figure out what it is about themselves, if they don't already know, that is wonderful, and that stand out, and that deserves some attention in a positive way, right? So.
So I appreciate that. So let me ask you, if someone, right, is first, I can't, I'm being generic, but someone is thinking about starting a business, um, and they're looking to do a service-based business, which we're both in. What could you offer them in terms of, like, thinking about their image, consistency, wardrobe, specifically for women? And also, do you style men as well?
I don't. So I exclusively style women. And there are times I do have collaborations with photographers who do photograph men, and I'll do consultations. But in my personal work and clients that I take on personally, it's exclusively women. But that's a great question. I mean, it's really, I guess, my primary goal or advice would be, um, first, to really understand your brand, understand what it is you want to do, what it is you're trying to convey through your brand, and know who your ideal client is, right? That avatar can change as your business starts to grow, and that type of thing. So it's important for you to know, because that may impact your brand and how you decide to show up in some way, right? But don't try to do it all at once. I think don't go all out and do the big, brand photo shoot and that type of thing. Start simple with headshots, right? And make sure that all of your social and everywhere that you're being seen is consistent. You mentioned that many times, that your brand presence across all of social media or any platform that people would see you is consistent with your brand, right? Um, and professional photos always stand out among, iPhone pictures and different things like that. So, and again, that might be related to your brand and what you do, right? You might be a certain type of photographer that does certain type of photography. I don't know, but you just have to get very clear about what your brand is going to represent, and that will always guide you in, how your image will develop.
You made it seem so easy.
Yeah, that's those are the Cliff's notes, right?
And that's important. I think, um as I shared in my opening, my experience with you was breathtaking. And that's the truth, because you don't know what you need until sometimes, until something else, or a business collaboration, or you taking new photos happens. But I have wanted this whole experience, and I highly recommend, if you are looking for an image style. Now, how did you introduce yourself? Because I want to get it correct.
So it's interesting because actually one of my longtime clients, that I've worked with through photo shoots and other collaborations and things, she coined me that. She was like,
Mm,
"You're my wardrobe confidant and
see,
image architect." So
see,
I just started using that, and I was like, "You're exactly right." So, wardrobe confidant, that's important because women want to be heard and they want to feel seen, right? And so that's a big part of my work, right? Is to hear and understand what their concerns are about their personal image and their self image, and to help them understand how they can fix that and overcome those, barriers or issues. And then the image architect, that part of it is helping them understand that how they can make that transformation, right? So you people can go on social media and you can see plenty of things. You can see all the clothes, you can see all the fashion, you can see all that. You can even buy it. But the how you put that all together, how you make it all you, how it becomes a part of your style statement, that's the work that I help you do, right? And that's often the work that people can't do for themselves because they're not stylists and they're not sitting around, like I'm obsessed with like anything fashion, right? So 9 times out of 10, if I'm taking in any type of information, it's about that, right? Because I love it. And so the average person probably doesn't know that, but at the same time, women do know more than they give themselves credit when it comes to their own style. They just haven't really taken time to sit down and think about it and process it and determine how it's changed and where they are at this season in their life and what they want. And again, just simply how they want to show up.
awesome. So we are surprisingly at the end of our interview, which means that this always goes so quick as we are taking a deep dive in some of the work that you do. But before we wrap up, would like to do this, what I call the 5 rapid questions for Courtney. This is
Okay.
Courtney. So the first thing I want to know is, what is your favorite place to live now?
Oh, to live? Hmm. Well, it's quite simple, actually. So right out of college, I became um, a flight attendant, and my first flight was to Monterey, California.
Oh, wow.
And there was this amazing sunset as the plane was taxiing in. And that's so vivid in my mind and in my head. And I always said, I would love to have a beach house somewhere in Monterey. So that's what I'd have to say, Monterey, California.
So that's part of your vision board. So Monterey, California, it is.
A beach house somewhere, yeah.
Beach house somewhere. What do you do in your downtime?
Yeah, so I'm an avid reader. I love music. Yeah, I just like to take in a lot of information. I'm usually
Uh-oh, I think we lost our guest.
um,
There you go.
things like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm or spending time with my husband or my family. So,
So what's your favorite, pizzas or burgers?
I'd probably say pizza over burger. Yeah.
Smoothies or ice cream?
Smoothie for sure. Yeah.
In 3 years, what will change within the community that you are now serving?
I think what will change is that women will be more amenable to uh, this service. Like, it won't be, oh, I didn't know we could do that, or I didn't know that was for, for us or for me. I think it'll be, styling will be more mainstream and it won't be seen as something for influencers or famous people. So I think it'll be a lot more widely accepted and sought out by people. Yeah.
And the legacy that you would like to leave to the community, your community that you're serving.
Mm. So I've always had a heart for women, and I always knew that a part of my ministry was helping women in some way. And my business has taught me that it is simply to build them up, right? Because when you build up a woman, you impact so many different, people in their lives. And that's what I want my legacy to be. It's much bigger than the styling, and I'm certain that it's going to grow in some way. Um, but it's building women up. Yeah, building women up.
And so I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share some gems. Um, we can find you on Instagram or through your link tree on social media. But I put down a hashtag image architect because I think that's really important to adding to your brand. I think so. So also, check out imagebycourtney.com. Definitely very appreciative. And if you are looking for some, it's a breath of fresh air. That's what I'm going to tell you, just from my personal experience, and has helped me to kind of unclutter some of the things that I have going on in my space. So if you are looking for an amazing image architect, please be sure to check out Image by Courtney. Um, Website, social media, all the same name. So, any final thoughts, Courtney?
Oh, I just want to say thank you again for sharing me with your community. I love conversations like this because it's so easy to talk about, the things that I think will help build women up. So just thank you for giving me that opportunity. Much appreciated.
Well, thanks for having me. And so, I wanted to also share some tips because I was taking some notes. Some notes. I do listen sometimes. Courtney recommended that we take time to really understand our brand, know who your ideal client is so that you obviously can begin to share your authentic brand to those clients. Don't try to do it all at once. If it means getting headshots or, doing certain things, bits and pieces, we don't always have it in the beginning. So start where you are. Brand consistency, one of the things that both Courtney and I have been really elevating during this conversation. You want your client to know, just like I mentioned earlier about Mary J. Blige and her hair, her boots, and her hoops. And so, also Courtney recommended getting professional photos. Again, really think about, the iPhones are great, but you do need consistent imagery within yourself. And it just looks professional when you have someone else take your photo. And finally, get very clear about your brand. And so if there are inconsistencies as you show up on social media, then your clients will definitely not be sure as to how they can purchase products or services for you. So those are really important. So, Courtney, I want to give you virtual kisses.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. I look forward to working with you on other opportunities because this is not the first for me. But
Absolutely.
again, I want to thank you for what you've done with me personally. I don't mind shouting folks out when they do really, really well because, again, that's what we should be doing anyway, my personal beliefs. But thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Okay. So there you have it. There you have it. We have, if you want a very, 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 I mean, she's really good. I'm not just saying that, she's really good. So check out imagebycourtney.com. You can definitely, look for her services online, also on Instagram. She has a link tree page there, but look up Image Architect, and that's you will find Courtney. So I want to really take a moment to say thank you all for joining the journey of the entrepreneur. I think it's really important to share additional resources for those who are looking for different pathways to enter in a variety of different spaces. We're all on this journey, and some of us know a little bit more than others, but we're all going through the process together. So, as you know, I always like to share a couple of resources. Within the state of New York, there are a number of opportunities for grants, connections, building networks. And I always like to shout out the chambers of commerce within the state of New York. There are many. I happen to be within related to a few of those chambers of commerce as members, but they're all over in all different states. They do exist. So if you are looking to tap into resources as a paid, and they do have a number of free resources available as well, please do not hesitate to join in to those specific organizations at the Chamber of Commerce. Also, here within New York State, there is still opportunity for you to get attached to some of this grant money that's still available. The New York State Small Business Recovery.com they did make an adjustment to the requirement. So please check to see if you qualify. If you do qualify, please apply for those specific grants. No need to leave money on the table when it's available for you in your business. And also wanted to just say, again, if you are looking for additional resources, you can contact us at 11375. We are on the social platforms under 11375. We're here to support you in your business goals. One is a business coach in the government contracting space. And also, if you're looking to connect with any project management activities. And on that note, I want to elevate again. Imagebycourtney.com. Please do check her out. Awesome work in terms of providing resources to small businesses. Wanted to float those tips up there again. Make sure you understand your brand consistency, and be very clear about who you are as a business owner. And so, on that note, I want to thank you all for joining the journey of the entrepreneur. Please like, share, and follow us on the social media platforms. It does, and we do appreciate all the support that you have been giving to us. So, on that note, I want to thank you so much. Stay tuned for more information. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the owner of a New York-based MWBE certified business consultancy. We focus on business education for startups, and we also connect mid-sized companies, corporations, community-based organizations, and government agencies to foster affordable solutions that will allow your business to flourish. We elevate the awareness of our communities with regards to financial, mental, and also economic wellness. Some of our services include project management, training and facilitation, stakeholder engagement, and also advocacy within the business community. If you're interested in some of our services or all of them, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're on all of the social platforms at 11375, or you can check us out at our website at 11375.com. We look forward to supporting you in your business goals.